The Uncharted series always had little Easter eggs in their games, mostly references to other older Naughty Dog titles, or references to games that are made by another studio, and sometimes even a hint towards an upcoming game. Uncharted 4 is definitely no stranger to this, as the first Easter egg on this list might actually be hinting towards something new The Last of Us related. Remember how in Uncharted 3 you could see a newspaper talking about a deadly fungus in a minibar? Now, that was an obvious reference to the not yet revealed Last of Us video game that would, not be released until 3 years from that moment on. But in the epilogue that Uncharted 4 has, you'll be playing as Nathan's daughter, and you can look around the room. And of course, if you were to check out the closet door, you'll see this poster with the title The Last of Us American Daughters. Some people like to say that this is a hint towards a new The Last of Us game. Some say it is a reference to an upcoming The Last of Us comic. I'm probably leaning more towards that second possibility simply because of the Dark Horse comic logo on the bottom right. But hey, who knows, I'd like a new Last of Us game. That, however, is not the only Last of Us reference, because in Chapter 9 you can actually find this Firefly pendant. And then to finish it off, you also have these painkillers, which come from the Weston's Pharmacy, which is of course a shop that appears in a Last of Us DLC. Now, besides that Firefly pendant, there are also 2 more relics in this game, which are both references to other games. Such as with every Uncharted game, one of those relics is a precursor orb from the Jak and Daxter universe. To get this one, you have to play through Chapter 12 until you get to this mudslide, and then you simply have to take a left, climb up these rocks, and then jump towards the hanging log. You can use that to grapple. Once you land, well, the relic should be right there, in the middle of this fountain thing. And then the last relic on the list is a reference to the old Crash Bandicoot franchise. You'll have to load up Chapter 21 and play until you see Avery's ship. You might want to take a close look on the right side when hanging on this rope, because that is where the hidden cave will be, in which you'll find the strange fruit, which is obviously nothing more than a Wumpa fruit from the Crash Bandicoot games. Now, if you've watched some more of our videos here on TGN, you might also remember that in the Easter egg video that we made about Uncharted 1, 2 and 3, that both in the second and in the third Uncharted game you had these moments where Drake would randomly start playing Marco Polo. In Uncharted 2, it was in this pool on top of one of the hotels, and in Uncharted 3, it was on this ship. Now, if you want to play Marco Polo in Uncharted 4, all you have to do is start up Chapter 12 and jump into the water at any time. And yeah, Nathan will start playing Marco Polo, although Sam doesn't really get it.
Marco what?
Now, something funny that you might have missed was the E3 presentation for Uncharted 4 back in 2015. They had the playable demo ready to go, but once they tried to show off their game, they unfortunately realized that something was wrong with the controller, and thus Nathan stood there, for a good 5 minutes, while the whole audience could just admire the screen. As I said, there was something wrong with the controller, so after swapping those, they got the demo to work. But the developers made a little joke out of this moment by including it as a hidden achievement in their game. All you have to do is wait until this cutscene is over, and then do not move your controller for about 30 seconds, and you should get the achievement called Stage Fright. Now, Naughty Dog Studios doesn't just like to put references from their own games and their own franchises, because Uncharted 4 is also filled with hints towards other games that is not created by them. The first one on the list is this painting of the pirate Guybrush Threepwood, which is of course the main character from the Monkey Island games. He does look a lot more realistic on this painting though. And that isn't the only Guybrush Easter egg, because if you take a look at this stable full of dead pirates, yes, they are dead, one of them seems to be the remains of Guybrush, or at least a lookalike. He's wearing the same clothing, and the logo on the cards have logos from the Monkey Island games. The only difference between this guy and the real Guybrush is, well, that this guy is kind of dead. Yeah, he's dead. Rest in peace. Apart from Guybrush, they also made a reference to the indie game Papers, Please, where you have to play as an immigration inspector and you have to check people's passports and stuff like that. Now, to see this Easter egg, you will have to start up Chapter 11 and head inside of the Portal Patrol building. Once you're in there, Nathan will start to talk to Sam and mentions a place called Arstotzka. Now, Arstotzka is the city where the Papers, Please game takes place. And the reason it was put in the game is because the developer that created the game Paper Please also worked on the first and the second Uncharted game. So I guess it's nothing more than the developers throwing their old friend their kind regards. And then last up on the list we have an Easter egg that will also reward you with a secret achievement. I mean, who doesn't like those? On the same level as the level we just discussed, Chapter 11, you can also go to the market and buy an apple from this lady. Once you've done that and you still have your apple, you have to go over to this guy that has a lemur on his shoulder. Pet it, play with it, and then after a moment walk away and wait for it to steal your apple. You'll get the achievement for this, which is called Don't Feed the Animals, although I don't think it was Nathan's intention to do that. Anyway, that wraps up our list for the best Easter eggs in Uncharted 4. I'm sure I missed some on this list. I actually know that I missed some because I know of a few that I didn't put on this top 10 list because it's a top 10 list and it only allows for so much, right? But if you have something that really needed to be on this list instead, make sure to let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, I will see you all later here on TGN. Bye!